Hello and welcome round to my house. Now, my guests today include a chef who's a rising star of the food world and a familiar face who's been putting a Michelin-starred spin on pub grub for more than 15 years. And together we're going to be serving up plate after plate of delicious food for a soap opera legend who ran his own restaurant empire in Albert Square. So let's get inside and let's get cooking. Morning. Are you coming in then? Good morning and welcome to the show. What a show we've got lined up for you today. I'll be joined by the man behind one of Albert Square's most iconic characters when EastEnders star Adam Woodyatt drops by. A big foodie, I know that. And my food adventures have taken me to Oxford, just up the road, when I'll be serving up some classic French cuisine with a little help from the legendary chef Raymond Blanc as well. Chef Nokx Majozi will be making a Saturday morning debut and treating me to the ultimate beef Wellington a little bit later. And Alysia Vasey will be back in Hampshire with more fantastic free food you can go out and forage. And don't miss this week's Little Masterclass when we're making an incredible dish of skate with beurre noisette, one of the true classics. But first, my guest in the kitchen is a chef, a publican, a campaigner, and an all-round good mate, myself and the show. It's the one and only Mr. Tom Kerridge.
Thank you very much. Hello, Chief.
First of all, I've got to say, what a T-shirt. What a T-shirt.
Thank you very much. I love it. My brother bought me this for my birthday, but what a man. One of the greatest television chefs, but entrepreneur, restaurateur, absolute hero and genius, Anthony Bourdain.
Exactly. Sadly missed as well. Sadly missed as well. Now, you're going to be cooking for us throughout the show as well. What are you going to be doing?
I'm going to be cooking kind of like pork stuffed cabbage rolls in a tomato sauce. Very simple. Looks quite classy. Looks
quite classy.
Well, in just kind of like it feels good for a family feast, but it's actually really easy to do. Super tasty and a classic flavoured, beautiful dish. Pork, cabbage, tomato sauce.
Right, that sounds good to me. So I thought I'd start off with this. I thought I'd do a dish of sort of a little bit of monkfish, because I thought I'd do a little bit of monkfish on wood-fired oven. I'm going to introduce this amazing product that we found as well, because you got your eye on this. We're going to cook this with an amazing little seaweed as well, really. First of all, I'm going to take the mussels. I'm going to start cooking those. A little bit of garlic, a little bit of white wine. I'm going to keep these separate for you, because I know you and shellfish don't agree with themselves.
No, we're not best friends. That would be fair to say.
Not at all, are we? So I'm just going to take a little bit of this and do this separate and put it away from you as well, this one.
I'm all right. I'm all right prepping it. I'm all right touching it. I just
really? It's just eating it?
Just can't eat it.
Because a lot of time, this shellfish, you've got an allergy to touching it and prepping it and stuff like that.
It's OK touching. There's no problem. It's actually digesting it. It causes... Well, it becomes very rapidly undigested. It's probably the best way to describe it.
And is that a recent thing, or is it... Because I'm the same with sort of mayonnaise, really... bought-in mayonnaise and kiwi fruit. I can't eat that either. It's really weird.
What, not together? Mayonnaise and kiwi fruit?
No. But
I'm all up for trying flavour combinations, but those two together, I'm not...
Well, if you put it together, it may be a little bit dodgy as well.
No, I've always had a shellfish allergy to crustacea.
Right.
But I didn't really find that out until I was in my early 20s, because it's like where I grew up, the only shellfish I used to eat was like crab sticks, but it turns up
I love that
crab sticks they ain't got any crab in them. So the first time I ate shellfish, I was a young chef, I was in my early 20s, and I had lobster. We had a lobster left over on a Saturday night, and the restaurant was closed for 2 nights, Sunday, Monday. So the chef said you could take the lobster home, so I cooked it for my flatmates, and it was like everything was amazing. We all had a bit of it, like this lobster linguine dish, and I was like instantly sick. And I was like, oh my God, I'm the worst chef ever. I've just made myself ill with my flatmates. But actually, the other 3 of them absolutely loved it. Me, I was like, so I couldn't quite work it out. And then the next point, I had langoustines, and that made me sick. But I was all right with mussels and scallops and oysters.
It's unusual, that, isn't it?
And it's just it just developed. The last 12, 15 years has been all shellfish.
Because I was the same when I was younger, and then your allergies, you've got to be so up to date with it as chefs as well. It's more relevant than anything. anything else, I think, in the restaurant
now,
business as well. Certainly have. So I've got my mussels cooking away, keeping well away from him. We've got the fish cooking away in the wood-fired oven, because I know this is... But I'm going to season this with something special. So this is where, as you know, part of the show, we try and sort of link you at home to all the amazing producers we have in this country. And I think there's a lot to be said about what's going on in the industry and everything else, and support for restaurants and everything else. But it's just where it all begins is the
knock on. The supply chain is massive.
It's where it all begins, the vital thing. There's some amazing people around the country doing some amazing sort of stuff. So we're going to go to Yorkshire, the only county in the world. There is only one county in the world. So we're going to go to Yorkshire, and we're going to do a boat in Yorkshire, particularly Scarborough, to speak to two people called Waverley Crooks and Laura Robinson, and how they set up the largest seaweed farm in the UK. I can see them on the boat as well. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Now, tell us about how this started, because it didn't start. You guys met not in Scarborough. Tell us where you met first of all, because how did it all start?
Well, we met in quite a long way away from Scarborough, actually, about as far as possible to get. I was working for the British Antarctic Survey as the navigating officer of a ship called the James Clark Ross, which is a big red thing that breaks ice and does scientific research in Antarctica. And every month or so, we'd get a new bunch of scientists come on board to do scientific exploration. And that's where Laura came in.
Yeah, I haven't been to Scarborough before, but I was down in Antarctica doing research actually on deep sea corals and where they live. And while I was doing that, I met Wave up on the bridge of the boat, and that's where Seagrown started.
Yeah, we wanted to do something that pools our expertise, really, in marine operations and marine science. And so we decided we were going to come back to Yorkshire and start a seaweed farm. What else would you do?
I love the idea. How on earth do you get started on this? Because, I mean, I'm assuming planning is quite difficult. You've got to deal with a member of the royal family and that kind of avenue. It's not going to the local councils, is it? How do you set up a farm offshore, and how does that work?
No, you're right. It's very difficult. It's not like you just buy a piece of land and plant things in. You have to sort of lease a portion of sea, really, and you've got to go through the government. We did this a couple of years ago. We started to put the equipment into the sea, and we've been working on it ever since. And now we're able to grow kelp offshore, which is easier said than done.
So how does it work then? Because you've got the boat that you're on now. How does it? You call it a hatchery, is that right? Or how does it work? How do you get the seaweed from where you are now into the sea, rather than just going to pick it out into the sea anyway?
Really good question. We've got two boats here, actually. We're on our bigger boat. It's actually more along the lines of a ship. And on here, we've got a seaweed hatchery where we grow, we take fertile seaweed and we take the seeds out of it and grow them on and actually propagate seeds. But they're all local seeds, so there's nothing changed. And then we take them from the ship we're on now onto our work boat, which you probably can't quite see, but it's just outside the shop there along the quay. We use that as our work boat, take that 4 miles off sea, and we lay the seeds out on ropes out at sea, and then wait for the sunshine and the nutrients in the water to grow the seaweed.
Ah, so it grows on ropes.
So, yeah, because it's amazing. When you see it grow, I mean, these ropes that you're growing the kelp and everything on, I mean, they're substantial. I mean, they're long and really heavy, aren't they? I've seen them, and I've actually been out to some of these farms. They're pretty substantial bits of kit.
Yeah, it needs to be, because we're working, you'll know yourself, James, being from this neck of the woods, that as soon as you go out of the harbour in Scarborough, you're straight out into the open North Sea. So there's no shelter. It's very exposed. It's quite stormy. I mean, last November we had, I think, 13, 14 metre waves on our...
I think you're underselling it. I think it's more like the Amalfi Coast, my friend. If those people haven't been to Scarborough and Whitby.
Yeah, you got to forgive me, but I know very little about farming. However, like traditional farming, you normally have a piece of land, right? And you might grow, I don't know, sweet corn or grain or whatever else. And then it grows in one particular area, right? But you haven't got tides moving it or taking it away. So do you grow it in one particular place, but the sea is moving, but you have it structured and tied to sea beds? Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's it, Tom, in a nutshell. Yeah, we've got an area sort of fenced off, if you like, it buoyed off to keep ships and boats out of danger. If they run into our equipment, they might get the propellers all fouled up. But, yeah, we anchor our equipment to the seabed, and then there's buoys on the surface. and the sea actually comes to us, which is great for seaweed farming because it brings the nutrients that we need, and all we then need is some sunshine, and that often is the difficult bit in Yorkshire.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it seasonal as well, like normal produce? Does it? I mean, obviously, because waves, the sea, the movement of the sea is massive, and obviously
we haven't got waves. We haven't got waves in Yorkshire. It's like a mill pond. It's like a mill pond.
But sunshine, and how does that alter the growth of seaweed?
Well, seaweed just needs nutrients to live, and it needs sunlight, like plants do. So really, you need those two things. So we have light all year in Yorkshire, but it'll grow faster in the summer with more light. But it likes to grow in cold water, so it also likes the winter. So you can grow different types of seaweed better at different times of year, but actually it will grow all year round, which is wonderful.
So tell me what we've got in front of us here. So you've got the material that's in the sea. You then bring it up. I'm assuming you blanch it, dry it. Is that the case? Because when you get kelp and it's brown, and then when you blanch it goes green. Is that right? And then you dry it. Is that how it works?
Yeah, dead on. We bring it back. We process it actually on this ship. You'll see the address on the side of those little cartons are Motor Vessel Southern Star. We actually process the seaweed on board and make the products you've got there. So the guys, we bring the seaweed back, it goes into processing, it's very finely sorted by hand, and it's trimmed off. We only use the best bits. And then it is thoroughly washed, and then it's dried. And when we've dried it, we mill it, we blend it with organic herbs and spices, and we come up with the blend that you've got there. At the moment, we've got 4 of those. And we're also making, it's really good for your skin, so it lends itself very well to sort of bath and cosmetic products as well.
James would be very interested in that. James would be really interested in that.
I thought you were thinking about suntan lotion in Scarborough. I thought we're back onto the conversation that's boiling hot in Scarborough, isn't it?
Those flavours are amazing, though. So you've got the one that I've just had there, really punchy and spicy, the Szechuan pepper one with the salt. Unbelievable. I think it's fantastic because it doesn't taste like you assume seaweed is just going to be like you try and sell that to somebody straight out, they don't quite get it. However, a dusting of seasoning like this, it's fantastic.
So guys, what makes yours different to I mean, obviously the biggest. What makes yours different to anybody else? Are you doing anything differently to anybody else to make it work, or it just uses all the things that nature has to offer? I suppose working with nature, I suppose that's what you got to do, haven't you? Really, you can't fight against it.
We do. Yeah, we do. We can't fight against it, exactly that. And what we did is we tried to farm seaweed the way that we thought seaweed should be farmed a few years ago now. And we found that it just couldn't stand up to open water conditions in the North Sea. There's too much energy, too much power. And it ended up wrecking the gear and dumping it on the seabed, and we had to recover it all in a big heap. So we literally went back to the drawing board, and we've sort of reinvented a new method of farming seaweed in a much more sort of, as you said, we're working with nature rather than trying to fight against it. And we tried this out last year. We had it in the water all across last winter. And as I said before, during Storm Arwen, it was quite extreme conditions, and the equipment that we had in the water survived that. And the seaweed kept growing, and so we're working for the next few years. We're going to be scaling this up and actually perfecting this system, and then we're hoping to be able to offer it out as a seaweed farming system to other people in the UK and worldwide, really, who want to get into this, because seaweed farming offers such great benefits to the environment. We want more people to be doing it, really, and if we can help them to do that, that's what we want.
So best of luck with everything as well, and next time I'm up in Scarborough, I'm coming to see you as well. I'll grab some seaweed and a 99 and a flake.
Good work. Nice one. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
Guys.
Best of luck with everything as well. How cool was that? You see? It's
amazing.
So there you have it with monkfish with mussels, monkfish without mussels. Either way, with a little bit of the seaweed, there's a little seasoning, with a little bit of lemon. What more do you want? Easy as that. Yeah. There you go, Sheffy, without moule.
Thank you ever
just
so
nice
much.
and simple, wood roasted monkfish, nice and easy.
Little drizzle of olive oil on the top.
Little drizzle of olive oil, touch of lemon.
Squirt of lemon.
That stuff is great, don't it? It's amazing how much flavour you get from that. It's really super tasty.
The simplicity of seafood like that is just incredible.
You have to do so little
that's
to it.
amazing.
You have to do so little to it, though. You're nice and simple. Easy as that. There we go. Right, still to come. We've got dishes from Tom, who's cooking, and Chef Nokx Majozi. And we're joined in the kitchen by my guest, Adam Woodyatt, very shortly. But don't go anywhere, because after the break, I'm in Oxford, which is just up the road, cooking in the gardens, one of the country's most iconic restaurants, in another one of my food adventures with a certain Raymond Blanc. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, coming up, I'll be teaching you the right way to cook skate in this week's little masterclass with a simple little beurre noisette. And EastEnders star Adam Woodyatt will be dropping by the house very shortly. Right, it's time to take a look back at one of my favourite ever food adventures. And this week, my travels are taking me just up the road to a world-famous restaurant whose owner just happens to be Raymond Blanc. The restaurant is Le Manoir de Quatre Saisons, and it is the best food in Britain, bar none. Check this out. I've been touring the historic city of Oxford. Now I'm heading out of town to a place close to my heart and home to someone who, in my eyes, is one of the finest chefs in the world. Here we go, Le Manoir de Quatre Saisons. This perfectly manicured 15th century manor house is home to the one and only 2 Michelin star chef, Raymond Blanc. So the magic thing that you've done here is you managed to surround the main hotel and restaurant with this fabulous array of gardens. I mean, there's 12 here?
There are 12 gardeners, okay, all inspired by my travel, marvelous people I've met, books I've read, fabulous gardeners I've met. And my papa was very responsible, okay, for the culture that he has given me here. There's about 70 varieties of vegetables growing, always. That's how much I love vegetables. That's how I love gardens, and of course it feeds our table. That's garden to plate.
In fact, Raymond's going to cook me 2 of his famous dishes. Using the freshest apricots and beetroot grown right here in his garden. Sometimes I just love my job.
Bon appétit. Maître, voilà, your humble servant.
Yeah, right.
We will start by voilà, très way. C'est bien, tout vient du jardin. And you're going to finish by one of my oldest classic cassolettes of apricots. And that's a classic, okay, a beetroot terrine, so slightly pickled.
It's lovely,
Yes,
yeah? Can I try that?
I'm not sure.
Go on. Go on. You've had this on the menu a long time.
Yeah, they are classic because they're classically beautiful, whether it is a painting, whether it is a beautiful dish. Yeah. And they can last forever because they have certain qualities, aesthetic and taste and textures and temperatures, which makes them live forever.
Don't like it.
What?
Absolutely beautiful.
It's lovely.
Raymond.
It's lovely to see you.
Cheers.
Really lovely to see you.
Cheers.
À ta santé.
Do you want me to cook for you?
Would love to, yeah. Yeah.
Chicken with morels?
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
If you're tasting my chicken morels, you better be nice.
You know what? You are taking a dish that my mum used to do about 70 years ago, okay?
All right.
That dish is a heart of my Franche-Comté, of my terroir, of my county. So that means that when I talk about chicken and mouille, I get very emotional.
Okay. I might get emotional in a minute.
Yeah.
I think I've set myself up for a fall this time. I do not want to mess up his mother's recipe. See that? Solid as a rock, no nerves whatsoever. Why would you be nervous cooking for a legend outside of his 2-star Michelin hotel and restaurant and cooking his mother's favourite dish that he's just happened to have ate for 60-odd years? Anyway, we're going to do chicken with morels. So the first thing we're going to do is get our chicken prepared. And what we need to do is remove the wishbone out first, like that. Then what we're going to do is basically just break this down into pieces. So we're just going to remove the little knuckles. The legs over here, you just cut either side. Break its legs, like that. So there's your legs and your thigh. Now, to remove the chicken breast, cut right along the top like that, all the way down, and just cut through. So there's one nice chicken breast. Same thing again. Then we're going to break this down even more. So I'm going to take the legs and the thigh and trim that up. Next, to clean this little knuckle up, what we're going to do is just take another knife and cut around the top part of it like that. Just take the knife, whack it, and that means you've got a nice clean bone, nice clean cut to it. So whack in one go. And then what we can do is actually start to colour this. So I've got some wonderful butter here. local butter. You can tell it's fabulous. Look at the colour of it. And we can cook this in a little bit of this butter. In we go with the thighs and the legs. So while that's cooking, we can then French trim our chicken breast. Remove the skin around the bone like I've done before with the leg. Trim this up. Crack it like that. Pop that straight in the pan. So once your nice bits of leg and thigh are coloured, we'll just take them out, pop the chicken breast in. Meanwhile, while this cooks, we'll just get rid of this board and I'll go wash my hands. So when your chicken is nicely sealed like that, take it out of the pan, put that to one side, and then really you almost want to decant this butter. We want the flavour in the pan, but I don't want that fatty layer over the top because it's all about this stuff. This is vin jaune. It comes from Jura, which is a region of France which is quite close to Switzerland. And it's like a sherry style, really, this one. You can use sherry if you can't get hold of this, but it's really unique to this dish. You want a little bit of that in here, some chicken stock, and just a touch of cream. I'm going to use a little bit of double cream to thicken it up even more. And then what you can do is then add some of these, our wonderful morels. Never wash them. With morels, you basically just want to use a little mushroom brush just to clean them. We take the entire lot, pop it into your sauce, give this a quick stir, and then pop the chicken back in. Now I'm only going to cook the legs and the breast for this one. You could, if your pan was big enough, stick the thighs in as well. So bring it to the boil, pop the lid on, 8 to 10 minutes, and we're nearly there. We're going to take our chicken to rest a little bit, but the important bit is when your chicken's cooked, you can then take this sauce and reduce this further. Meanwhile, I'm going to prepare our veg, because I've got the veg literally from the garden here. I've got some wonderful chard. Look at this rainbow chard. The stem cooks a little bit longer than the leaf, but what you can do is just chop it up. Just take the little stems here, a little bit of water. Then we're going to take a touch of this butter, a little bit of salt, and literally on the stove for about 2 or 3 more minutes. Meanwhile, that sauce won't be far off. Cheers. So when your chard is just about there, you can then take the leaves and just pop that in. A little bit on a pinch of salt, that's it. Meanwhile, we can then concentrate on our sauce. So you can see this is reduced down nicely. Season it up, some salt, a couple of twists of pepper. And then what I think it needs, just a tiny little bit of lemon juice. Just a little squeeze. And then the chicken goes back in there. So our chard is cooked. Next up, you can grab your chicken.
I'm famished, you know. I've been waiting a long, long time.
Some of this gorgeous rainbow chard over there as well. But then, of course, it's the sauce. With Marie mushrooms. Just a few of these over the top, and this reduced sauce to go with it. Right, come on then. In you come. Bon appetit, chef.
That looks beautiful.
Come on, sec.
That looks really beautiful. I don't need a truffle. That's too fancy truffle.
You can have it. There you go. Go on then.
That looks lovely. It's
cooked.
perfectly cooked, yeah. Absolutely.
Let's just get that
Lean,
perfectly
yeah.
cooked.
Beautiful texture, wonderful flavour.
Keep going.
Don't have too much cream either.
Out of 10. 6.
Just let me finish. Just started. 10 out of 10 for the cooking
Yeah.
of the chicken.
It's just the sauce is about a 4.
More flavour.
So you give and then you
No.
take.
No. Yeah.
Anything else?
No. You've got enough love. You can see a lot of love here. And you've been sweating. Oh, James. Oh, poor James. Oh my God.
Just get away. Go away. It is an amazing place, La Majozi is on, and it's a shining light in the hospitality industry. It really is. If you ever get a chance just to even walk around the gardens and the orchard, and it's just spectacular. The attention to detail that gentleman has is unbelievable, as well as his food. It's a brilliant place. Right, still to come, we've got a recipe for stuffed cabbage rolls with Mr. Tom Kerridge. And don't wish, this meets a little masterclass of skate with beurre noisette. But I'll see you back here in a couple of minutes when I'll be whipping up a dish of my own for EastEnders legend Adam Woodyatt. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, coming up, Tom Kerridge will be showcasing his skills in this very kitchen a little bit later. And Yorkshire forager Alysia Vasey will be dropping by the house shortly. But first, I'm here with a total foodie and fellow motorhome lover who just happens to be one of the most successful soap opera actors of all time. Is the brilliant Mr. Adam Woodyatt. Thank you. Great to have you back on the show as well. So we're going to start off and do this little cake. It's a coffee walnut cake. You can do it with candied walnuts and show you how to do the candied walnuts right now. So the first thing we do is get these candied walnuts ready, because this is nice and easy. So you start off by making a stock syrup. So you add a decent amount of sugar to this, and you want to bring this to the boil. So this is just normal caster sugar and water. While that's coming to the boil and making our stock syrup, we can turn our attention to our cake. Our cake is like a traditional coffee cake. Equal quantities, roughly. Butter, sugar, eggs, flour. And you've got some coffee. It's a really strong espresso coffee. And then all I'm going to do is take the butter and the sugars first and start to mix this together. So why food for you? When did you fell in love with food? Because looking back at your career, you know, acting was your first love, still is, of course.
Yeah.
But the food thing, you're a huge foodie.
I think it must have started with me mum and me nan.
Right. None of which were cooks, professional chefs?
No. Although I did discover, talking to my uncle, I never knew this, my nan on the other side, she was a chef.
Right.
I think she was actually the editor of the Daily Mirror's chef back in, I don't know, 1900 and whatever it was.
Right.
Yeah, she was the only one who was actually a cook, but she never taught me. It was me other nan.
And was acting something you always wanted to do? Because you started off, I mean,
I nearly went to catering college. Well, it was more the hotel management side of it.
Right.
So I was working in a butcher's shop, and they just started doing...
I know about that bit, yeah.
They just started doing the YTS schemes.
Yeah.
And there was a choice of either going off and doing hotel management or going and doing stage management at Theatre Haffron in Wales.
Yeah.
And I opted for going to do the stage management, and then I got a better offer. I got EastEnders, so I came to London and did that.
You've got EastEnders, and all throughout your whole career, have you ever actually had to audition? Because the rumour has it that the new thing that you've just doing at the moment, we'll get on to doing the theatre side of it. That was your first audition in decades.
Yeah, I'd not done an audition since the audition for EastEnders I can't even remember if it was July or August 1984, and then. Yeah, all of a sudden this year, this July, I had to do another audition. It was the first one, and I sort of stood there in front of this director, and it was different, so different this time round, because they said, "Do you mind if we record this?"
I love it.
Well, that never happened before. He said, "Oh yeah, we're just going to do a live feed to the producer in America." I'm like, "What?" Yeah. So it was, even though there was only I think three or four people in the room, it was actually being sent over to the producers in America at the same time.
So we've got to talk about EastEnders as well. I shan't bug you whether you're coming back, but we'll fire in with the first question. I know the answer. Are you going back?
Never say never.
He's going back. He's going definitely. I can guarantee he's exactly going back. But tell us about your interview process and did you realise it was going to be that big a part? How did you get the job in the first place? Yeah, how did you get it in the first place?
The first time they phoned up and said, "Do you want to audition for this?" I got phoned up one night. I was living in Wales, and I couldn't. There was no way of getting to the audition the following day in time. And then I think it was about 2 months past, and they still hadn't found someone to play Ian Bill. So Sylvia Young got the phone call again. Have you just got anybody else? well, we've got this lad, he lives in Wales.
So they couldn't find anybody, or they hadn't got...
No, hadn't found anyone to play in. Anyway, I got told on the Friday, and it was like, right, I'll have to take Saturday off work, well, half a Saturday off to travel down. I've got to pay for my train fare. I've got to take Monday off work as well. And I started tightening it all up, and I was only earning 45 quid a week, I think it was back then. And it was going to end up costing me more for the days off and the train fare. And I thought, I can't afford to go. Well, I'm glad I changed my mind.
Well, the show itself, people don't realise that back then there was 3 channels. I remember I first started on TV.
No, we had 4.
4 channels.
Channel 4 had started.
4 channels had just started when I was on, but 3 to 4 channels. But the millions and millions, I mean, tens of millions.
Yeah.
30 million.
Well, we got 30 million or 31 million watched, then hand over the divorce papers to Ange at Christmas. It would literally be like half the country tuning in to watch this.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's crazy, isn't it? Right, look. So we just got our nice little cake, which we've got on there, and then this I'll put it in the oven, middle shelf of a fan oven, once about sort of 45 minutes to an hour. We're going to slice it all through, and I'm going to layer this all up while we're doing that as well. But
I've got that knife as well.
You got this one?
Yeah, I've got that one. It's really good.
Whenever I see him, he's always at these always at these shows, and he's usually behind the counter working with some chef. You've been working with Daniel Clifford as well, haven't you?
No, I haven't found time to go and work at Daniel.
Right, because Daniel was telling me that you made the phone call and stuff like that, but you do genuinely love mixing in with chefs and cooking.
Yeah, I love it. I don't find it hard work.
Really?
No, I genuinely enjoy it. I like the chaos. I like it when you get a rush on and there's loads of stuff to be done.
It's camaraderie. I think that's the thing that I love about stuff like that.
I actually think of it. It's almost like a performance. It's not dissimilar to acting in a way, because I mean the prep's like rehearsals.
Yeah.
And then when you're actually serving, that's showtime.
So do you I mean, I'm going back onto these things. Do you miss it because you had your break from it? Do you miss that sort of television, or you just go, do you know what, I'm quite happy to see what else is out there? Because so many times you could be, when you ask people about it, you move on because you don't want to be typecast in certain roles.
No.
But I suppose, as an actor, you just want regular work as well. There's that
that's it.
fight there where you just want, I want regular work, so it doesn't really matter. And if an iconic role comes across, then great.
Well, it's what I mean. I've ended up stumbling into another iconic role, but it's on stage.
Well, tell us about this then, because you're on stage and singing.
Yes, that's...
So I never knew you were a singer.
Neither did I.
Yes.
Well, no, I did. The last time I sung on stage in a musical was very, very recent. I was 1980.
Right.
I was 12. And, I've ended up doing my first audition for 38 years, this one with the Americans over Zoom and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm playing Alfred Doolittle in My Fair Lady, which is pretty iconic. And I didn't realise until I started Googling it and see who else has done it. I mean, we know Stanley Holloway done it. I knew Dennis Warsman did it on stage at Drury Lane in 2001 because I was working with his daughter. She was playing Ian's third wife, Anna. But the stage show's only been on about 5 or 6 times. Because it is so big.
I was going to say
it's massive.
Right.
It's an absolute beast of a show. I mean, we're on tour. We've got 30 people in the orchestra, and it's a joy to be part of it.
So when you speak to many actors and stuff like that, they instantly go theatre, beyond film, beyond television, beyond any of that. Theatre is...
I get that.
You get that?
I totally get it, because...
What is it about that?
It's the instant feedback. Right.
But surely that you've done live TV, you've done all that kind of stuff. Is it the same thing? Is it something that you're dissolving yourself into something that's, can you mould it around your own part? I don't know, but you've got
to stick to the text. I mean, because we'll have people turning up who'll actually know every word because they'll have learnt it probably better than I have.
I mean, it's so iconic as well, isn't it? Really,
Well, I get arguably the two best songs. I get Me to the Church and With a Little Bit of Luck.
But with an orchestra and other stuff like that, and you said you haven't sung since you was, well, like you say, when you were 12 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, saying yes to it and actually physically doing it, with the other cast members as well, the pressure's really on.
You do get imposter syndrome because I'm looking at them and they're all sort of like musical theatre trained and this is what they are. And all of a sudden there's me turning up and I think... But no, they've been incredibly supportive. I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
I've bounced around rehearsals like an excited puppy and I'm trying to contain myself because it is... for me, it's just such a fantastic opportunity to even get a chance of doing it.
Well, fantastic. We're going to stick around and talk about motorhomes as well a little bit late, but I want to get on and just tell you about
Mine's bigger than yours.
Yeah, I know it is. Yeah, it definitely is. But look, we've got these. These are you can see how sticky this syrup goes. That's what you're looking for. Now, when you deep fat frying it, you just turn the oil to about 160, something like that, and they go straight in. But these, when
I'm salivating.
Well, the key to this really is not have the fryer too hot because they just burn, they caramelise, because anything with this amount of sugar in, they'll just crisp up straight away and they're candy. But you end up with these, there, that's all you want, is they'll crisp up like that. We'll just leave those to one side. Meanwhile, I've got some walnuts over here. I've simply made a little cake like this with the walnuts, and you can stick these on the side. But you know what you're doing on all this because I've seen you on more cookery shows than I've done.
You just make it look easy, though.
Well, if I had more time, you make it look more impressive, but...
What, you mean you wouldn't drop as many?
No, exactly, but Ralph likes these, he'll pick them up. So, a bit of those. And then you've got these...
That's the point. Where is he?
Yeah, he's around, trust me. He'll be around in a minute, but...
I think last time he was sat next to me.
Yeah, but these...
That.
But we're just going to pop these over the top. Like that.
I'm not so sure about that one.
You're not sure? But they go sticky as well. These are wicked. So I'm going to build them all up like that. And then I'm going to take these and break these all up. But then when I'm doing these, I'm going to spike it all up. So these just get all over. So while I'm doing this, the director will cut to Birdsong outside because this is going to take me a couple of minutes. Off you go.
Tweet, tweet.
So we can then take a nice little chunk out of this. Get yourself a knife, little wedge, clean it, another wedge. And there we have it. Check out that. My version of a coffee or walnut cake with candied walnuts to go with it. Bon appetit. There we have it. I don't mean cake for your first course. You've got beef stew and dumplings later on in the show.
No, it's the right way round.
I think it's the right way round as well. But it's cake should be more. It should be all about taste.
I'm never going to get it all in one go. Okay.
It should be taste, but it's nice that. Nice, isn't it? You just know it's good. There you go. Right, I'll be cooking the second course for Adam later on in the show. I'll be chatting to top forager Alysia Vasey. We'll join us again after the break when it's Tom Kerridge's turn to fire up the stoves. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, coming up, I'm giving you some service suggestions for skate in this week's Little Masterclass, and I'll be cooking another dish for Adam Woodyatt a little bit later. But first, it's pub food. The Hand and Flowers was the first to get 2 Michelin stars, and he's now on a mission to revolutionise our mealtimes. This is fabulous Tom Kerridge.
Yay! Thank you very much.
Mr. Tom Kerridge.
Thanks.
Mr. Tom Kerridge. What are we going to be making then?
Very, very simple, but we're going to do some stuffed cabbage with pork cooked in a tomato sauce. Really easy. It looks complicated, but actually it's kind of, you put it in the middle, it's got that wow factor when it comes to the table. Everyone loves it, but the flavours that you all recognise, pork with onions and caraway seeds, wrapped in the cabbage in a lovely tomato sauce.
Off you go then. Stage is set for you. Yeah.
First thing we're going to do, in a pan here, it's a little bit warm, just going to throw in...
Do you want us to chop the garlic? Is that what you
could, you could chop the garlic if you like. I could just talk, you cook. I mean, this is the way it goes. We've got 1 onion here that's been chopped. We're going to throw that in. and just sweat that down in a little bit of oil. And this is to add that flavour. We're trying to make the pork stuffing that goes with it. And those flavours, this is where you get that kind of like, that sausage roll flavour is almost what you're looking for. Thanks very much. The garlic goes in as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cook that out. As that begins to soften, I'm then going to put into that some paprika. This is just straight paprika. You can smoke paprika if you wanted. Okay. Either way, it's no real bother. But it's about the flavours. Now, the idea of this recipe is pretty much just putting things together. And if you haven't got... The thing that we've got with the new book is the idea of the flavours, the recipes...
Can I just say, I won my bet. I said it'd be 90 seconds before I mentioned his book.
No, that's got to be 2 minutes. That's got to be 2 minutes. That's got to be 120 seconds. 120 seconds. Listen,
You're all buying me a drink tonight, yes.
You're looking at me. I'm not going to bail you out.
I learned from the best.
I'm not bailing you out on this one.
Got it.
But the idea of it is that recipes are there. We're all super busy. We spend a lot of time. How many of us actually do a starter and a main course and a dessert on a midweek on a Tuesday?
It's
or
interesting because the Michelin star chefs don't really eat the Michelin star food, or you just eat normal stuff.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? And we've all got, families. We all have busy lives. If you're lucky enough to be off in the evening, you get through the door at 6 or 8, 7 o'clock and someone's going, yeah, what's for tea? You open the cupboard and it's like, OK, how do I get on with it? So actually the way that the book is set out is it has lunches, teas, because where I'm from, dinner isn't called dinner, it's called tea.
Exactly.
Lunches, teas.
So where I'm from, it's called dinner.
Yeah, but that's, well...
Oh, you're posh Yorkshire.
Posh, oh, hello.
How can I be posh
Hello,
Yorkshire?
there we go.
Yeah, you're North Yorkshire, that's posh. Proper
Another
Yorkshire. Yeah,
proper Yorkshire.
tea.
Posh Yorkshire.
Yeah, posh Yorkshire.
Anyway, right, so we cook the onion, sweat it down with the garlic, take it off, and it comes to a cool mix just like this, all right?
Yeah.
And then into that mix, we're going to put some pork. Here, I'll use this.
Nice.
That's
So
cooled,
cooked
right?
and cooled, yeah.
Cooled, and that's quite important, because into that, we're going to put pork mince.
I'm going to move this to one side, because I reckon this is going to go back to Donny. There you go.
Pork mince goes in. 1 egg.
Yeah.
That will act as a binding agent, bring it all together.
Yeah.
And then into that, this is how I cook at home, like I just put things out and then just dump it to the side.
Yeah, and I'm moving it.
And then and then you come round and tidy up. And then into that, the other thing about these recipes is it's unashamedly using supermarket products or ready done time savers.
Yeah, love it.
This is a pouch of pre-cooked rice, right? You can boil your own, you can do everything else. But actually, if you open the cupboard, the rice is there, got a bit of mince, mix it together. Right, now the idea now is you get your hands in and you mix this together, all right? So all those flavours, the paprika, delicious.
So it's very
rice.
Polishy, sort of.
It is, I instantly recognised it, that it's something that my granddad would do. But I love Tom's recipe. Your meatball recipe, the ale.
Yeah.
It's my go-to all the time. I love that one.
I love the use of things like mince.
Yeah.
I really do.
I do.
You can get so many different flavours that combine with it. It doesn't have to just be about the joint of meat or the actual lead part of the protein. With mince...
2 stars on the king of mince.
Well, there you go. I'll take that. Right. So you get that mix, that can be made. You could even make that the day before if you wanted to, all right? And we're going to roll that in some cabbage. Now, these are Savoy cabbage leaves, taken from a cabbage, blanched. Yeah. You get to that point, you'll know this because you've worked in posh restaurants. Right, you take the little bit out, and then we're going to roll them, OK? So you take that spine out, or you can crush it down if you want to a little bit. Yeah. You get the mix, and you would just stick it into the middle of the cabbage, like that, and you can tuck the ends in, and just roll it. We're giving ourselves these lovely little cabbage rolls, right?
And it's
hasn't got to be super neat, just like that. James, if you can do a few more of
I'm
those.
going to be doing hundreds of those.
Well, not hundreds, all right? We're going to be doing a few. Now, whilst we're doing that, into the pan, I'm going to put a splash more oil, and into that, another onion that's been chopped up, OK? Thanks for doing that.
This is the sauce bit, is it?
This is the sauce bit. This is the bit where we're going to cook the cabbage in, all right? So, again, it's about driving flavour, sweating down and cooking those onions.
So tell everybody about the pub then first, because it wasn't... cooking wasn't your first career choice, was it, really?
Well, Well, it depends. I mean, there were a lot of number of career choices that I went through.
But acting was because you were. People have probably seen your face in a couple of shows before you were.
Well, it was all kind
chef.
of happened a little bit by accident.
Didn't know this.
Did you know this?
I didn't know this.
I left school at 15. Well, I was the youngest in my year, so I left school when it was a summer holiday, so I was 15.
Right.
I didn't do so well in my GCSEs, and I didn't really know what to do. So I ended up joining a youth theatre. My mum took me and one of my best mates to a youth theatre, which we quite enjoyed. And it was just, but I wasn't quite sure what to do. And then somebody came, an agent came to see somebody else in a show, and then asked if I'd like to be on their books. I was like, yeah, okay, why not? I've spent most of my life just saying yes to pretty much everything. And then like 2 or 3 weeks after that, I was filming a Christmas special in Miss Marple. Where I played a young lad in a borstal, right? And then I think the final nail in the coffin for me was London's Burning. So do you remember London's Burning? I was in that. It was a show like.
I remember it.
There was a fairground. There was a massive accident. The fire brigade had to come out, and in the fairground, it was caused by a big fight. And as the titles went up at the end of the show, my official title was Thug 1, Tom Kerridge. So that was the point. I went, you know what? An acting. I've been typecast. That's it. I'm done. I'm done.
Bully.
So I went into a kitchen as an 18-year-old and needing a job washing up, like a lot of people within the industry. So I went straight in there, started washing up, and it was the energy. You know what kitchens are like? They're so exciting. They're amazing places.
Great buzz.
Yeah, great buzz. So I walked in and just went,
same.
this is it. I love it. I love this space, and I love being a part of it. I love the nightlife. I love the left field way of life. I like late
camaraderie.
nights. It's just so great and exciting as well. There's a real buzz to it, isn't there? There's
creative.
I mean, it's creative. It's fun.
What have you got in here? Just to recap what you're doing on here, because we're missing what you're going on this.
So
pan.
I have sweated down an onion, simple as that, and then into it I've put some tomato puree, and then I've put some tinned tomatoes and some chicken stock, and we're going to bring that up to the boil, and we're going to fill it. Look at this amazing mess I've made. I love it. I look one side and go, yeah.
Go on,
I'm going to fill it with these, and you just drop them in.
So you've got the hand and flowers. You're expanding the restaurants and bits and pieces.
We are. We've got 6 sites. So we've got the Hand of Flowers, and we've got 2 other pubs in Marlow. Great team of people, you know. And it's such an amazing world to be in. I love it. I love the restaurant industry. It's fantastic. Yes. Even though the last few years we all know
it's not the easiest at the moment.
It's not the easiest, but I think many industries have had a bumpy old time. Anything that's to do with connection of people, whether it's theatres, whether it's live music events, whether it's whatever it is, anything that has travel, tourism, meets people, it's been bumpy. Yeah. But right, lid goes on, then this goes into an oven and you bake it for 20 minutes, all right, around about 200 degrees. Then take the lid off, put it back in the oven for a further 10 minutes.
Yes, chef.
And then when it comes out, it looks like that. So the sauce is reduced down, it goes sticky and glazy. The top of the cabbage gets baked, has a nice crispy crunch to it. You need a spoon to serve, chef.
Yes, chef.
Look at this. Now, if you wanted to, you could put a load of grated Parmesan over the top.
Oh, nice, yeah.
How lovely would that be?
Yeah, lovely.
Put a couple of pork, cabbage.
Even just a bit of olive oil would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Or something foraged from the hedgerows.
Oh, here we go.
I'm not quite... I'm not entirely sure what would go with pork and cabbage.
Oh, don't get us started.
I'm not doing that one. I tell you what'll go knife is that pork and cabbage. My knife and fork.
And there you go. Very, very simple, really easy, but it's the sort of thing you can put together, bake in the oven, hold still, serve simple like that.
So give us the name of this dish from the book.
This is pork, cabbage, stuffed tomato rolls in a sauce baked in James's oven.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's called that in the book. That's what it is.
I forgot the title. But
Tom Kerridge, everybody.
Yay!
Right. Have a dive into this one then.
Oh, thank you.
There you go. I'll let you dive in from the pan. Is that right?
I mean, I've got the biggest portion.
You can dive in from the pan as well. Lovely.
Good.
Good that. Good that. Not bad. Tom Kerridge, everybody. Right, I'll be laying on a classic beef stew and dumplings for Adam Woodyatt shortly, and I'll be giving you a Masterclass in skate with a lovely nut brown butter sauce. But after the break, Alysia Vasey will be here with Tom to tell us all about the amazing produce you can forage in your hedgerows right now. This is going to be interesting. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now we're chatting some more to Adam Woodyatt a little bit later on in the show. And we've got a mouth-watering beef Wellington on the way as well. But first, I'm here with a chef, Mr. Tom Kerridge, and a Yorkshire lass with one of the finest minds in the foraging world. It's Alysia Vasey.
Yay!
Welcome
Thank
back,
you.
boss. You always bring an amazing selection of ingredients. We had bakery goods last time you were here.
Oh, yeah.
Now we've got... Now, what is this that's going on here?
Right, OK, so you know me, I always like to put you to test, don't I?
Yeah.
All right, so just that simple. OK, so we have got, today we're doing crab apples. So what I've done is, it's that time of year, it's mulled wine season, isn't it?
Yeah.
OK, we need a nice mulled wine with some nice spices. All right, so off we go. So let's start off with a drink, James. So,
Honestly, when you see a photograph of Alicia's house, it's wonder why it's not exploded. Because you've got lotions and potions in little pots.
yeah, well, they call it, you know, my lot, they go, what witch's brew are you doing this week? Right, OK.
These are crab apples, right?
Yeah.
So what's the difference between them and normal apples? Why are they called crab apples?
Good question, Tom. Why don't you have a bite of that and then you can tell me?
All right. Is that like a
It's all right,
dare?
don't look too worried. Right. Awful, aren't they?
Very sour.
You know what?
That's gone out in the garden. Yeah. You'll have a tree there next year.
Any more questions, just keep them coming.
Right.
Yeah, I think I might not ask any more.
So what have you made with it?
Right, so, thing is, sometimes the worst things can actually, you know, like you get tamarind, which is really awful on its own, isn't it? But then it translates into something lovely. Yeah. So crab apples do exactly the same thing.
So all you've done is just warm this up like a mulled wine. So you take mulled wine, pop it in there, let it macerate in there, and then just...
Yeah, a little bit of honey, and off you go. Probably needs more... I actually did, actually.
Yeah, it's really nice though, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is nice.
See, I'm not a great fan of mulled wine, but that's really nice.
It gives you that flavour, doesn't it?
But
right.
this, I mean, crab apples would be good for chutney, like you were saying, would they? Or something?
Yeah, the crab apples, you know, the closest relative to your crab apple that'll quit is like your cooking apple. You know, you're not going to sit and eat that either, are you? Right, that's sour. But the things that are sour, the things that are tart, and also if you dry crab apples out, cut it into slices, dry it out, powder it up, you've actually got homemade pectin. Because apples have the highest concentrate of pectin.
You've got a bit too much time on your hands to be doing that, haven't you?
Well, maybe I have, maybe I haven't. maybe this is what I do, yeah? Maybe this is what I do. But, yeah, so that is pectin.
You haven't met... Exactly.
This is amazing. I've never seen you like nervous.
Yeah.
I know what's coming.
Yeah, you know what's coming.
Last person was sat there was Gordon Blackiston. He was chewing on something green. For about 5 minutes, he said, "Don't eat too much, otherwise you'll die." And he started to then spit it out all over the place. And, anyway, cyanide.
I haven't seen Dalton in a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Funny that, isn't it?
Right, I'm making a little thing called the funnel cake here. We've got baking powder, I've got some sugar, I've got some eggs.
Yeah.
And with plain flour, bit of milk, and I'm going to make a funnel cake because I'm going to go. This is going to go
I'm
with.
standing back for this one.
No, this is good. We've got a few more things to talk about. I'm going to go with this. Tell us about this then. What is this?
Right, so what we're on with here is rowan berries. You will see these on the trees, the rowan tree, and these are either orange or red. It does not matter. Make sure, though, I've put the leaves right here on some of these, so you can actually see, OK, the shape of the leaves so you know what the tree is, because there's a lot of berries around this time of year that look the same. Don't pick berries off trees, OK, unless you know what you're doing. Same with that hogweed as well. Look it up, and make sure you wear gloves if you're going to attempt it. Right, rowan berry. You're going to love this, Tom. Right, this is your modern preservative. These are all your E numbers in one jar, OK? So what you've got in here, you can't eat them just as it is. One, they taste horrible. Two, it's going to be all systems go, OK?
What do you mean?
You know what I mean? Right? Right, well, I'll leave you to work that out. Anyway.
I think at the back end, mate. I think that's what she's talking
All
about.
systems.
Yeah.
All systems.
All systems. Okay.
Yeah, all systems go. Right, because it's got something called parasorbic acid in it.
Right.
All right?
Right.
So parasorbic acid needs to be heated up, or it needs to be done in water, you know, boil it up in water, which changes the composition into sorbic acid. Are we getting into chef territory now? Sorbic acid?
Yeah.
Right, now we're thinking potassium sorbate. Yeah?
I've just gone back to school where actually all I'm thinking of is going out and playing football with my mates afterwards. So if you're just using words
you
that are
can't
so
say
big,
that.
like there's so
Oh
many
my
letters
good
in these
grief.
words. I mean,
All right, then. I tell you what, E202, E201. Are we getting anywhere now?
yeah, got you.
Right, mould inhibitor. So this will stop mould in mushrooms, yeast,
Yeah.
yeah, and, oh, God, I can't remember the other one.
So this is your
Funnel cake.
little
Not getting
funnel
too close,
cake.
Not getting too close.
So this comes from Philadelphia. So this batter is like a donut thing. You just pipe this all in, and then the idea is as they fry nicely. Well, I learnt this in Philadelphia. There were when I had sort of a lunch break when we were working there filming. There was a queue outside this sort of caravan, and there was a guy there selling these. They were amazing.
Yeah.
And I thought the reason why this would go really well together, because everything on this table needs about 16 kilos of sugar to go with it. So I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to serve this with it.
Yeah.
Eh? Well, look.
In fairness, that probably won't taste like it's got 16 kilos of sugar in it,
Right.
although it probably is quite close.
Right, so look, you've got your...
Yeah.
And they would have these with... I think it's really cool. So to make them, look, you put it in a piping bag, no nozzle in it, and you pipe it in, and when you're piping it all in, you're just swirling it around at the same time.
I just like doing that.
And the whole idea, I think they're really cool. So it's like a churros, I suppose, cross between a churros and a donut-y
Is it any kind of oil that you use?
This is a little bit of veg oil in here.
Just normal veg oil, don't have to use out fancy.
No, not out fancy. No, you'd have to use out fancy.
Do them in batches, couldn't you? And then keep that in the oven nice and warm whilst you keep going back and doing more.
Exactly. And then we've got this nice little syrup that used to be a jelly, or wanted to be a jelly, but it's now a
You don't know that
syrup.
it's nice yet.
It's nice.
Oh, yeah.
It wanted to be a jelly, but we ran out of
Yeah, all right.
jelly stuff.
Well, I chucked some pectin in thinking it were going to do, but... Because I didn't... Yeah, anyway, never mind.
Is that pectin that you made yourself with crab apples by drying them out?
That's the one, Tom.
Amazing.
That's the one. Yeah,
there we
no.
go. Let's
Yeah,
see.
no.
I was listening.
No, well, it was out of a jar.
And then we take another 16 kilos of sugar to make the whole dish taste really nice.
Well, it's not butter then, is it?
So, and then you just put that
Oh, nice.
with that. And then the idea is you rip that up and dip it all in. Right, should I chop it up so you can all have a little taste?
Yeah, go on.
It's all right. So, look, bit of that, bit of that. Tom's thinking, this.
Honestly, I'm quite interested in the syrup. Cheers, Peb.
There you go. Just have a bit of that.
Thank you.
See, that syrup's delicious. Really got so much depth in that.
See?
Acidity, dark, quite sour.
Yeah.
But also, it's unusual. It's something that you haven't had before.
Unusual. This is what this item's, I class it as unusual. I've been doing television for 30 years, and not once have I spent 10 minutes discussing on a food show everything that you can't eat, that you want to eat, that's inedible at the end of it, stuff that'll kill you, everything else. But that's what I get when I get Alysia on the show. Alysia Vasey, everybody!
Hey!
She's a superstar, absolute superstar. I love that. Right, still to come, we're serving up another course for my guest, Adam Woodyatt, and we'll be tucking into beef Wellington very shortly. But after the break, we've got a masterclass in a very special dish. It's skate with a little beurre noisette butter to go with it as well. See you after the break. See you later. Love it. Welcome back. Now I'll be treating Adam Woodyatt to my beef stew and parsley dumplings very shortly. And Chef Nokx Majozi will be working on magic in the kitchen next. But first, it's time for this week's little masterclass. And this week's masterclass, I'm going to show you one of the most popular dishes in my restaurant at the moment. It's banging season at the moment, and that's skate. Classic dish been skate beurre noisette. We can turn this in grenobloise, which is basically just the addition of bread or croutons, but more or less it's the same thing, really. So the first thing we've got on here is our beautiful piece of skate. This is actually blonde ray, which you've got on here. In season right now, it's an amazing, amazing piece of fish. You can see that. Now, this is half the skate, or ray, which you've got on here. You've got the centre bit here, which is body, which is not really edible, to be honest with you. People don't use it. It's full of bones and cartilage and that kind of stuff. But these are fantastic pieces of fish. Now, this is in its whole form, or half form. And once it's skinned, you end up with what we've got on here, this beautiful, beautiful piece of skate. Now, it's one of these things that people look at, and I've seen this in the supermarket recently as well, so it's available more and more, and they think, well, I don't know what to do with it, so I won't buy it. But really give this a go, because it really is simple and really simple to cook. The sauce of which can go with anything, but this is the classic accompaniment with it, or nut brown butter. So what we do, first of all, if you're faced with something like this, you want a sharp knife. Now, you've got to understand that there's a bone running down the middle, inside here. So you can imagine this is a whole fillet over here, and this is a whole fillet over there. And there's a bone running through the centre of it all that way. So when you eat it, you just scrape everything off. It's very, very easy to eat. So then what you do is you take your knife like that, and we can cut it in half now. Trim this up, which is there. Cut that through, and then just give it a quick whack. And that is now 2 portions, which we've got in there. So we'll move that. Then what you want to do with this is you want to then pop it on a tray, and then we add some seasoned flour. So a little bit of plain flour, like that. You don't want too much, you're not creating a roux or anything like that. A bit of salt, a bit of pepper over the top, like that. And then just dust this in the flour. Now, you're just lightly dusting it. You can see that. It's not fully coating in it, you're just lightly dusting it. What this will do is help the fish crisp up while it's cooking, give you a nice texture, but it'll help it to brown up a little bit in the pan. So what I've got in here is just a normal sort of non-stick pan. Give my hands a quick wash. And then we start cooking this in oil. Now, although the sauce for this is butter, or a nut brown butter, which I'll get to in a minute, you don't cook it in butter. So you cook it in a little bit of oil, like that. So this is veg oil. We don't use olive oil, because olive oil, when you heat it up too much, particularly extra virgin olive oil, will just burn. So what you want to do is start off with a little bit of vegetable oil or a little bit of grapeseed oil, that kind of stuff. And then we can take our beautiful bit of skate and pop it in the pan. So you want a nice little bit of colour on this, like that. Now, this sauce, like I said, it lends itself with most fish, really, particularly Dover salmon, yeah, that kind of stuff, which will be cooked whole on the bone. It's one of these dishes that really chefs and cooks, we sort of prize, really. We enjoy cooking it as much as we enjoy eating it, particularly fish on the bone. So stuff like this, skate was on the menu, or turbot, halibut on the bone, that kind of stuff. It's one of those dishes that chefs really, really love. So try and, wherever possible, cook it on the bone, because the bone does 2 things. It holds the fish together, but it keeps the moisture in the fish as well. So rather than you take the fillets off, sometimes it can be dry as well. So you want to make sure, wherever possible, you cook it on the bone. It is, you know, it's enjoyable to cook as it is to eat. It's fantastic. So nice bit of colour on that. You can see we just got a nice bit of colour. Then we'll put the other one in. So onto the tray, straight in here, like that. Now, whether you're doing sort of fish fillets, that kind of stuff, the same way you cook it. Just start it in the oil first of all, transfer it, and then we're going to pop this in the oven. So you start off, nice bit of colour like that. And then, I mean, this is one of my favourite gadgets in the kitchen, this thing, this little fish slice, really, rather than the big fish slices, but start off with that. So you get a nice bit of colour on it. Take the lot, which you've got in there. I'll turn that down now. And then pop this in the oven. Now, this is going to take about 8 minutes, 10 minutes to cook, something like that. So turn the oven about 210, 220 degrees, something like that. Not for very long. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep this oil as well, because I'm going to use this. I don't want to waste any of it, because this is where we're going to take our breadcrumbs. Now, this is the grenadinoise bit, which is the garnish. Now, what that means is the addition of several ingredients, one of which is bread. Keep that as well. The other one is a little bit of lemon segments, and the other one is some capers. So we're going to take our bread and cut this into sort of smallish croutons as we go. So like that. And then we're going to cut this through again into these little croutons. All the while, I've got the pan with a leftover bit of oil in. So we're not wasting any of it. Chop it up. Now, this is where it is one of those meals that you can get everything cooked while your fish is cooking as well. So in we go with the croutons. And we then turn up the heat a little bit, and we can start to fry these. So keep your eye on them. You want them to go nice and sort of golden brown, which you can see there. They're not far off, which there is. Keep your eye on these. Now, it's a good idea with these, once you get them ready, is to have a little tray. You see a lot of chefs have these trays with a little sort of cloth in it. This is just to absorb the oil from this. The other part of this, we've got some capers. So I've got some nice capers. Now, with the capers, you can actually fry these as well if you wanted to. We've got a nice bit of capers in there. This bread is not far off now. You can see you've got that beautiful little colour. Look at that. So you're not cooking it really, really quickly, so it colours too fast. We can then take that, take our nice little breadcrumb. Look, lovely little croutons. Perfect. Like that. So there's off to one side. We've got those, nice little line of those. They're nice and crunchy. And then we can turn our attention to our lemon and our parsley. All the while, you just leave your fish in. You don't need to keep basting it. You don't need to touch it. Just pop it in there. Now, how to segment a lemon. What you want to do, first of all, make it easier for you to segment. You take the top and tail off it to make it nice and flat. Now, look at the shape of a lemon. Your idea is you want to peel the lemon and still keep that shape and not make a square or a hexagon. They're supposed to look like a lemon when you finish peeling it. So the best way to do that is actually use the white pith line to follow that with a knife, and you keep the curve in that direction. Sharp knife. Then what you want to do is follow the line that you've just cut and work your way around again. So again, like that. And you can see if you follow the next line, work your way around again, like that. Don't worry about if you haven't taken too much off. You can do that afterwards, but keep following that line all the way around. So you can see as I'm doing it, I'm following the shape of the lemon. And I've hardly taken anything off here, look. I've not wasted anything, but we keep going all the way around, like that. And keep that as well. Then what we want to do with this is then take these segments. Now, the way you segment this is quite simple. Just remove that last bit. The way you segment this is brilliant. Nature's amazing. It's like, everything's like paint by numbers, draw by lines. You've got little lines either side here. So you take your knife, one side of the line, nice and tight, cut it down, and cut the other side of the line. And then the segments just come out. So you keep doing that all the way around, and the segments just come out. Easy as that. Work your way all the way around. Been really careful. All the way around like that. And you can keep this for a little bit of the juice as well at the end. You're going right the way around. And you've got segments. Now, it's the same whether you do an orange, grapefruit, that kind of stuff. We can then take this and chop it all up. So we've got smaller pieces, as this is. And then lift this out. And that can also go on your tray, ready. So everything's getting ready now for our final bit. Segments there. The only bit that we've got to do now is do a little bit of chopped parsley. So keep that bit of lemon as well, because we're going to need that. Then we want our parsley. And the idea is this, we want it sort of finely chopped. So when you're doing this, get a decent bit of parsley, like that. And then get it nice and finely chopped. And you can see, chefs love doing this dish, because it's one of those things not only the fact you know what's going to happen next, because the next bit is pretty special to make the sauce. It's very, very quick. But the flavour of this is just ace. So, a little bit of parsley. We can then put that in there. So you can see you've got everything ready now to then finish off this. This is our little garnish, ready? On there. So, give it a quick wipe down. And then, it's all about what's happening in this pan. The oven, it's fine. Next, it's what's happening in this pan. Beurre noisette. Very, very simple. Classic nut brown butter sauce. Butter, lemon, and that's it, really. With the addition of capers and whatever you want to add to it. Usually parsley, really, but it's usually just these two ingredients over here. Now, the most important bit is you get a nice colour onto it. To do that, you need to make sure the butter is nut brown. if it's burnt, it'll taste bitter and it's not nice. If it's not cooked enough to make it go brown, it'll just taste like melted butter, and it's also not very pleasant. So what we're going to do is add the butter to the pan, like that. And you can tell what's happening as it's boiling up like that. The pan's on a high heat. You can tell it's starting to brown, but keep the pan nice and hot. And what will happen is it'll foam up like it's doing over here. It'll foam up, foam up, foam up, and then all of a sudden the foam bit will die down, and then it'll start to go nut brown. So keep it on the heat like that. And then the only thing that's going to stop it from cooking is taking it off the heat with the addition of lemon. Now, I'm using a little cloth over here, which I can pass it through a little cloth. It's very restauranty, but so often this, in France, you'll just get it where they just put the lemon over, straight over the top of the fish, done. It's that simple. Now, you can see, you can actually hear it, the bubbles disappear. So it's not frying anymore. Now it's starting to brown. And you see it's bubbling up now, look. This is how we want it. See now it's starting to go brown? As it's starting to go nut brown, which we have on here, I can tell it's going nut brown. Now we can turn it off, add the lemon, straight into it, straight in here. And it goes straight into your pan. But what this does, straight away, is create this nut brown sauce. This is the classic accompaniment. So you can see what's happening in that pan. Started to go nut brown. Straight into there, done. We then add the addition of our ingredients. Now, we can take our fish out, because this is ready. Look at that. Now imagine if we add that with the butter and it's just going to be just burnt by now. We can then lift this off and grab our nice skate like that. Lovely. And then you can take your little garnish. And then this is you can either add it to your pan. I'm just going to add the parsley to this. But then we can add the lemon on the top. We can add our croutons on the top, like that. Our capers over the top, like that. And then to finish it, it's all about this butter going over the top. And you can see from the colour of this, look at the colour, it's not brown, look at the colour of it. That is exactly what you want. And it's one of the most iconic dishes, really, with fish. And long may it continue, because it really is fantastic. And chefs love eating it as much as they love cooking it. But there you have it. My version, a skate with a nut brown butter sauce. Done. Now, if there's anything you'd like to learn about in a little masterclass, then do get in touch with us so if we can help out right here on the show. Time now for a quick break. Join me again in a couple of minutes when Chef Nokx will be making her debut in the kitchen. I'll see you in a bit. That is a cracking dish. Welcome back. Now, I'll be cooking a delicious beef stew for my guest, Adam Woodyatt, very shortly, who's sat here now. We're both excited to be here with a chef that the food critic Jay Rayner, who sat on this very, very seat about 6 months ago, who said was one of the rising stars in the food world, and rightly so. From the Rosewood, London, in the Holborn dining room, it's Nokx Majozi! Now, I'm looking forward to this. We've bigged you up now. I'm so excited about your food, because you've just, not only are you going to do this, you brought something pretty special with you as well, which is over there, but we should get to in a minute.
Yeah. So today I'm going to be doing our beef Wellington. So I'm going to go through the stages of it.
Okay.
Super excited to share this with you.
So what are we doing then? What are we doing first of all?
So I'm going to be using Prisola. Normally they use the pancakes, but with my beef Wellington, I'll be using
You want me to do this?
Yes. I can. Prisola.
Yeah. So this is instead of pancakes, this?
Instead of the pancakes. And as well, because, you know, we're going to be using pastry. So you might as well mash, you know, with the pastry and the pancake. It's kind of a nice, because the Prisola is smoke.
Well, I'm going to slide that towards Adam, and then he can taste a little bit of that.
A little bit of it, or
well, a little bit of it. That's just a little bit. But then tell us about this spinach then.
So with the spinach, we steam it, and then you need to get the big leaves of the spinach, and then you steam it for like 1 to 2 minutes, and then you need to make sure it's dried, and then you cool it down.
Do this?
Yeah, and then you need to make sure it's cooled down, and then you roll it. By rolling it, like as you can see, I use the J-cloth, so meaning you have to roll it like 5 or 6 times until it's so dry.
What have you got in here? Because this is mushrooms.
Yes.
Right. What have you done with them to make them dry? What?
So this one I use the button mushrooms.
Right.
What we do, the kitchen, when we're doing this one, you get each section, because we have the big beef Wellington.
Yeah.
So with the mushroom, we always, each section will have like 2 boxes. So it's all about chopping. It's like tak, tak, tak. The whole kitchen, you can hear the noise of chopping. And the reason is that it's good to chop it rather than using a RoboCoop, because there's more water that is coming out there and it's getting mushy. Right. But with this one, it's really nice. As you can see, it's dry. In the pan, slowly cook it, and then the water all will come out. At the end, I just add some shallots, some thyme, a touch of thyme, and some truffle oil, just to make it...
What's next then?
The next one, I'm going to be putting the beef.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after this one, you have your fillet in, and then it's time to roll it. So you can see, slowly. And then keep on your cling film on.
Yeah.
And then slowly.
You almost pull it tight at the same time, don't you, really? And how many are you... I mean, you're so busy there at the restaurant. How many are you doing, really, with these?
So with this one, you know, it's quite special because we always do it only on Wednesday, which is for dinner as well. So a lot of...
Is that the day you take off? I'm just saying, it's quite smart, isn't it? Just put it on the rotary, it's just...
Actually, no.
It is the day you take
Actually, no. I'm always there. I'm always on the...
Apart from on Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day I'm always there. And the good thing is with this one, it's just a word of mouth. We never had... It's not on the menu as well. It's not like you can see it on the menu.
Do you want me to finish that one off? I'll finish this one off. So you're bringing it in tight like that. And the idea of what you want, I mean, look at it already. The idea of what you want is tightly
nice
put it in the cling film like that. Done. Right. In the fridge.
And now we're putting it in the fridge.
Yeah. And now you want the pastry. Sorry, chef, I'm there. Sorry.
Well, the pastry. We're gonna now, the next stage is gonna be the pastry. So I already have the pastry that I roll. I always prefer to use the pastry that you can be able to roll yourself, but because in that way, you can be able to know the size. It's easy to just the size of your Wellington, because if sometimes you find that it's too thin, the pastry. But if you buy the block one, it's always nice you can adjust the thickness of your pastry.
Right.
So this one I roll it early on.
Okay. Happy with that?
Should I take it off and put on the bench? So from now.
Right. This is the next stage. Yep. I can see you doing this in the motorhome.
No.
Exactly.
What you can see me doing is parking up and driving down to Holborn on a Wednesday.
Exactly, that's what, yeah.
And then the pastry.
So it's important to keep this as tight, though, isn't it, as well?
Yes. Still, this one, you still need to make sure, especially on this side while you're rolling it, you just make sure that there's no air bubbles as well. The pastry doesn't overlap.
Yeah.
So, and then still again, while I'm getting it over.
Yeah. And that becomes the seal. So tell us about the restaurant where you are now, the place in Holborn. Because it became famous, I mean, it's very, very famous for this pastry work, the pies and everything else.
Yeah, so in Rosewood, London, I was working with Chef Callum when we opened the pie room. So
Who's been here? Yeah.
He's been here as well.
Yeah.
So we used to have one pie on the menu.
Yeah.
And then it was very always the one dish that is selling, which was the pies. And then he got this idea that why can't you open a space where we can be able to make some pies? And I was like, I couldn't see it, you know, it was like,
It worked,
yeah,
wasn't
are
it?
you okay? And then it was like, but the way it's happened, so from the beginning I was more involved in the, when he was starting to do the design of the pie room, from every step, the menu, so everything from there. And then when you come to here, you just need to seal it down.
So normally what would happen is you put this in the fridge now just to firm up.
Yeah, normally now it's just put this one in the fridge.
But then you want this bit now, so...
And then I will...
This bit of the pastry.
There's another layer.
There's another layer, look. Right, tell us what you've got in here then. What have you got this bit here?
So here I got it's a lattice. Normally you will get the top. Can I have that? Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. So this one you can get it in the shops. You can buy it to make the lattice. Although ours we normally use the knife all the time.
Shopping channels, 4 a.m.
I watch it after 10. After 10 I can
No,
see
you wait. You get to about 4 o'clock. 4 a.m. is properly kicks off. Yeah.
Okay. Next one, I'll do that one.
Go on then. Next.
So I have my lattice in here that I've done it before. And then when you're done it, you just need to make sure after you just need to make sure that it can be able to, there's nothing that is stick on it. So it's nicely
Looks pretty good to me.
Oh, only one.
Only one.
Only one, I just had
Sorry, I missed that one, Chef. Sorry about that. Two.
two.
You'll get punished in a minute. She'll give
exactly.
you a really tricky job
Yeah,
next.
exactly. Right.
That's fine.
Right, I'm going to let you do that. I'm going to concentrate on the sauce now. Is that right?
Wait, that would be amazing.
I'm going to talk about. Well, you got us a little sauce here. You made it a classic jus, red wine, a little bit of stock, some shallots, some bits and pieces, some garlic and bits and pieces. And you want to add the butter to finish it off. A little Montier. Right, there we go. So this goes over the top. The tricky bit is this. Is tucking it underneath, isn't it? This bit.
This bit, and then you just need to. As you can see here.
I can see why they only do 3 of them.
Yeah, exactly. The tricky bit is yet to come, though.
Yeah,
That's
because after this one is finished, we still have to sell the pies. So you
Yeah.
can have, we have a lot of different delicious pies, vegan, pork pies, any pies that you like to have, gluten-free. You got everything.
Trim that off.
Yes,
Happy?
please. Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
Come on, neatly, James, neatly.
No, this is my tea. So I've got to concentrate on this.
And always make sure that your pastry is tucked in underneath.
Yeah.
Nicely.
Egg wash.
Let me see the other side. Let me check first the other side.
Sorry, Chef.
Yeah, happy with it.
Egg wash?
Yeah, we can egg wash now.
Egg wash. Over that. And then
that.
the bit that makes the difference between your pies and a lot of others is this next bit.
So now I'm going to be adding with some thyme, but you can use rosemary as well. Depend what you like. But thyme is always nice. The flavor as well is not too strong like with the rosemary. So we always prefer to using some thyme.
Go on then. Do you want me to do it?
That would be amazing.
gotta
I'll
put your
just show
glasses
you.
I have to put my glasses on for this bit. Go on. I'm getting old. Go on. Nokx, I'm getting old. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just like that. Not two, just one piece of
You've
it.
just answered the question why you only make 3 of these, aren't you, now? And you do this all over it?
All over it. There must be no space.
Every hole?
Every hole must have one. And don't put any 2 or 3.
Just one?
Just one. Thank you, James.
So how many commie chefs do you normally have doing this?
Do you know what? I'm going to continue that afterwards. If that's all right. You get the feeling, all that, over the top, put it in the fridge, cook it in the oven. I've done your sauce.
Yeah.
How long do you cook this for then, in a fan oven?
This one, we're going to cook it for 40 minutes in the fan oven. Yeah.
And then, funny enough, I'll warm the sauce up for it. And then this is what we end up with. This. Look at this. This is what we end up with. All right?
Is that one each?
This is what we end up with. So you want to lift these off? Yeah. We end up with this. Do you want to lift that one off as well?
Yeah.
There you go. That's that one. There you go. Give us that. I'll get rid of that. So there's your finished ones. And then while you're ready to plate this, because I'll get you a knife and get you everything there ready, while you're ready to plate this, you can tell us about these amazing things behind us. These, which Adam spotted these.
Oh, yeah.
But Matt, the sound man, to be honest, spotted it before Adam. But tell us about these. These unbelievable. What is this? What is this you got on here?
So here we have the pork pies, which we sell a lot in the restaurant as well. As you can see, we have all the cuts of the restaurant of the pork.
I've kept my glasses on. This is so special. Go on.
Yeah. So here we have the pork shoulder, the ham hock. We have some what's the one? Mustard seeds. Some fennel seeds as well. What am I missing? Sage and chopped sage. Right. But beautiful, and then smoke bacon as well.
Right, well, I'm taking my glasses off for this, so we're ready to rock and roll. I'll warm the sauce up for you, and then you could do the money shot. Go on, off you go.
So it's a good one.
Oh, my word.
The problem is, you wanted to come on the show. The problem is now, Wednesday, you are completely ruined it. Completely ruined it, because I'm going to cut you another little bit. You want another little slice so you just put it on the plate?
Thank you.
Like that. So I'll slice it up for you, like that. How good does this look?
Oh, that's obscene.
I mean, there are beef Wellingtons in life, and there are beef Wellingtons in life, and that's as good as I've ever seen in my life, which you've got over there. So do you want to spoon the sauce on? Do us the honours?
Yeah. I'll just put a touch of salt, usually.
Yeah. And that goes on here.
Oh, my. What's happening with that one that's gone in the fridge?
It's for my supper.
OK. I was just asking for a friend.
Yeah.
On top of the side.
Yeah, wherever you want to put it. Do you want a side on the side? Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, because I can't reach over there.
Sorry, Chef. I'll do it.
I'm sorry.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
You do make
Thank
a very
you so
good comment.
much.
I'll do it. Is that OK?
Yeah.
Enough?
This is perfect. Yeah.
That's perfect?
Yeah.
OK. So
You
remind
can
us...
have the second one.
So-
Small sauce on the side.
So remind us of this wonderful dish. What is it called?
So this one is our beef Wellington, with some red wine jus, nicely done, and then I'm gonna have it with some roast potatoes.
Exactly, because I did say the best is yet to come.
Oh, you are joking. Yes!
We've got roast potatoes. But you only get those if you're there before 7 o'clock. Because I'm in at 6:30. Nokx, everybody!
Yay!
A roast potato?
Oh, I wouldn't say no.
Just use the little... I use my little tweezers with the roast potatoes. There you go. Would you like pork pie with it?
Well, on the side, maybe I'll have to put pie afterwards.
There you go. Dive into that. Tell me what you
I'll have
think
that
of
as my dessert.
Exactly. Tell me what you think of that one, then.
I could tell you before I even started.
You just know it's going to be great, isn't it? It's a superstar in the making, really. It really is. I mean, spectacular.
Oh, wow.
It is about the attention to detail, isn't it? It's about...
That's always the case.
Yeah.
About the attention to details.
An interesting year for you use the bresaola to instead of the pancakes, which is a great idea. But...
I'm looking forward to tell me, how does it with bresaola?
Needs a bit of work, but it's all right. It's delicious. Absolutely. It's beautiful, isn't it?
That is stunning.
Nokx Majozi, everybody! That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Right, we've still got time for one more final course. Join us again after the break where I'll be rustling up an epic beef stew for Adam and Nokx. I'll see you in a bit.
What, more food?
More food. Welcome back, sadly, to the last part of the show. But they're going to enjoy this, trust me. I'm here with my guests, Adam Woodyatt and Chef Nokx Majozi. And then we're going to do this. This is right up your street. I think this is something the viewers will love at home. I know the crew are going to love as well. Beef stew and parsley dumplings. Get in there.
Yes.
Get in there. So we're going to do beef stew. So I've got shin of beef over here. I think with shin of beef, what you want to do with this is you want to cut it into decent-sized pieces, rather than it being too small and too diced. The reason for that is if it's too small and too diced, it sort of dissolves while it's cooking. So you just end up with little sort of almost like looking like tin tuna at the end of it, really. But you want, they're chunks of bits and pieces like this. And then we take a little bit of flour, and just a touch of flour over the top. Now, Nokx, I don't know whether you realise this, but you're sat with not only an actor, but a chef as well. Sat next to you as well. Yeah.
But I'm not a chef. I just like cooking.
Yeah.
That's great.
He's taken over the world. He's taken over the world. Now, tell me about this love of motorhoming thing, because I've got to talk about that. We'll talk about other things.
Motorhomes, yeah.
We'll talk about all, I'm a Celebrity and all that kind of stuff that you've done recently. Tell me about, where does your love of motorhomes come from?
Well, it came from doing the last theatre tour.
Right.
And we'd just come out of lockdown. I didn't want to stay in hotels. I didn't want to stay in sort of B&Bs and stuff. Yeah. And Shane Ritchie turned around to me and said, "Oh, have you thought about getting a motorhome?" He said, I've done that on tour before. And I thought, OK, yeah, that'll work. So ended up getting a motorhome, got it sorted. 2 days later, I phoned my daughter up, who was living with me at the time. I said, "Jess, when you move into America?" He was like, "Well, end of June, Dad." I went, "OK, when you do, make sure you clear your room out because it won't be here when you get back." I said, "What?" That was it. No more bricks and mortar. I live in a motorhome. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Because it is the freedom side. People don't get it. That the people who get it. But if you've never done it before, you only sort of try it when you're on holiday. You may try it in America, that kind of stuff. Americans kind of geared up for all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Big time geared up for all that.
I'd love to have the time to go and do it over there. I mean, that would be fantastic. But I still want to go to Scotland and sort of have a proper drive around there. There's bits of Wales I want to get to. I mean, obviously you have to plan going to places like Wales because the roads are so narrow.
Yeah.
I've made that mistake once. And it's you must have done it at some point where you've turned and you've sort of you can see the hedges just getting narrower and narrower and you just look at it and go, I'm in trouble.
Right, so we're just going to do that. We've just got this stew on. So the idea of being behind this, if you just want to look at it, this is how you brown the meat. By browning the meat, first of all, you're going to end up with the brown stew. So you don't want to end up with putting food colouring in and bits and pieces and that gravy browning and that kind of stuff. You must get the meat coloured first. Now, you can do that in several ways. You can colour the meat, you can colour the onions, bits and pieces like that. I mean, you've made a million pies. You know how to do this.
Oh, yeah.
This fillings and that kind of stuff, don't you?
This one, I love it so much to do it.
Yeah.
Even back in South Africa, I used to do a lot. My grandma used to do a lot of doing this.
So you do a lot of slow cooking in Africa as well?
Yes. Mostly back in the days, we used to do a lot of slow cooking. We grow up like that.
What I love about Africa is meat. And when you do meat, you don't do little bits of meat, do you?
That's right.
Do you know what I mean?
Because
you see how excited he is.
Well, I tell you it is, because you order something off the menu, and you think it gets to the table, it feels like 26 people going, "It's for you." What is this?
It's like the cooking as well. We never cook for like, even if you have a family of 4, you always think of family for 10, because anyone can come in. So the food is always huge. You're always big. You can expect anytime a visitor, anytime, any day. And our portion is quite big as well. So. It is.
All I'm thinking is your driveway big enough for a motorhome?
So look, we've got our onions over here. This is just nice and simple. You can take your onions, you can pop them in there. With the carrots, I mean, I don't even peel the carrots. This is as far as you get. That, take the tops on it. My mum used to keep the tops on the carrots. You just throw the whole lot in. I love this type of cooking as well. In we go with the beef. Over the top of there.
I do like those small pieces of beef.
Well, that's what... But they see you got this... That's the kind of idea. You want that nice little bit of colour from it. And then the stock side of it. You can put wine in it, you can put water in it, you can put whatever you want. But this is the stock that you just buy from the supermarket nowadays. Liquefied stock. It just helps the cooking of it so much. That goes in here. You've got a bit more of your onions going in as well. Pack those in like that. Proper chunks of meat as well. That's what you want. That goes in in there. This is very different to what you had, of course, in the, you know, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. What on earth possessed you to say yes to that?
Look,
I know this is an ITV show. Will you please stop phoning me up? I'm never going to be doing it.
Oh, no,
never
do
want
it.
to. No, I never want to. I don't want to do it.
It's honestly, it's the best fun.
No, it's not at all. No.
It is.
No.
It is, I agree. I think it's...
What do you mean agree? You haven't done it.
I've seen it.
This is your first time on the show and you're sending me off to a jungle. I don't want to go.
No, James, seriously, you should do it. Honestly, it is
You've only
such
just
a
met.
laugh.
What?
Do it. So if they keep asking you, go on it.
I don't want to do it. I tell you what, though, I've got a chef friend that's definitely going to go out there. I know that for a fact.
Honestly, it's the best experience. It's the best fun.
No, you need to get out more. Right, look. I'm not doing it. End of. So please don't phone me up again. Right, this is going on here. Lid on. This cooks for about 2 hours. We end up with this stew that we've got on here. So while these continue to cook, you can tell us about this theatre tour that you're doing. Anybody else that's just waking up this morning?
Oh, sorry.
Yes, exactly. You come away from the beef stew.
I was just thinking about that and thinking I'm really going to enjoy this.
Yeah.
The theatre tour. Yeah, My Fair Lady with where are we? Cardiff imminent.
Yeah.
Edinburgh is my next stop. Then there's Southampton, and
they get to see you on stage singing.
They get to see me on stage, not just singing, right? It's the whole.
The full on.
Yeah, it's the full Alfred Doolittle and his the moralistic speeches, which they're just.
I think it's
joyous
fantastic. Well,
things.
best of luck with it as well.
I'm
we'll
loving
bump
it.
into any of the festivals next year as well. So I need to be there. Either that or campsites. But look at this. Look at this. Je t'aime, je t'aime.
Is that French?
I don't know what it is, but I do. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that.
Oh.
Now, I've just top trumped everybody today. Tom Kerridge's Distant Cabbage. That's a distant memory. This is where it's at. Look at that. And you take this. Oh, look at that.
My mouth is watering.
Take a bit of that. And then we'll just put a little bit on here. Look at that. And the dumplings are soft. The carrots are whole. They're not a lot of mush, look. Everything just looks and tastes to what it should be. The meat looks amazing. The carrots look amazing.
That's proper winter grub.
There you go. There you go. Sorry, Tom, but you've just been top trumped, lad. But look. But there we have it. My version of beef stew with parsley dumplings. Bon appetit. There we have it. Beef stew and dumplings.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Bon appetit.
Oh, thank you.
That's all right. Dive in. Tell me what you think. I, unfortunately, have got a small spoon.
Oh. Thank you.
Dumplings. It's a way forward. It's a way forward. There you go. There we have it.
My name is
Last dish of today's show. That's all we've got time for today, sadly. A massive thank you to all my guests, Alysia Vasey, Tom Kerridge, Nokx, Majozi, and, of course, Adam Woodyatt. Good luck with the rest of the tour. We'll see you back here at the same time next Saturday morning. We'll be joined by more top chefs, other brilliant guests. Until then, take care, stay safe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you at my house next Saturday. Bye for now.